So we're just going to start off by asking, what does creative resilience mean to you?
Okay, what does creative resilience mean to me? I think being a creative, you have to be resilient all the time. Nothing ever goes as planned, even if that's something as simple as you're planning to write a particular style of document and you find if it's fiction, your characters go a different way. It can be trying to manage your life around trying to be creative, trying to earn an income, family commitments, etc. So I think the best thing I could say is that a friend of mine said this to me once when my kids were very little and I was really trying hard, and I'd said, oh, I feel so embarrassed. I just yelled at the kids, I'm writing a novel, shut up. And she said, look, always, mums always are amazing, and any minute you get for your creative task is fantastic. And if you do, and I've sort of elaborated and extrapolated on that, and I think if you do it when it's impossible, which is what it is now, we're all feeling depressed and it's difficult with COVID. If you do it when it's impossible, when things are possible, it seems so much easier. So do it when it's impossible. Anything you do when it's impossible, and then when things become more possible, it'll be much easier. So that's my take on that.
Terrific. Yes, that makes a whole lot of sense. Can you tell me about a time when you had to be resilient when you were working on a creative project?
Okay, a time when I was resilient working on a creative project. I think just about every project I do requires that. At the moment, trying to think that my current work in progress is what I'm describing as a feminist crime space opera. And it's funny. It's this humorous novel. And I've had to be resilient because I can't. We had a plan. I had a plan to go to the States to research at a NASA proving ground, a mining site, and I was going to get all of this stuff about science and research and planetary mining and all of that, and that has evaporated. And so what I've had to do then is consider what I can do now. And what I can do now is get behind and the background and understand the character motivations. So why would this main character do this thing? Why is the bad guy doing the bad thing? And so I've had to say, okay, I can't do that great thing that I was physically, viscerally looking forward to doing. And it would have been, once in a lifetime opportunity. And I don't know if I'll get it when COVID's over. I don't know if it'll come back, if I'll be able to do that. But I've gone, well, I can't do that. So I have to focus on what I can, which is this character motivation and development and adding layers to things.
Yeah, yeah. And what do the themes of creativity and resilience mean to you?
Oh, that's a good one. What do the themes of creativity and resilience mean to me? Creativity is a bit like breathing. People have told me as a kid, oh, you're very creative. And I think, no, I'm not. I just made a story up, or you're really creative the way you get engaged with this, or you think about, you think of funny puns when most of us just take something as it was written as serious. So to me, it's a bit like saying, how do you breathe? I can't really discuss that other than I don't feel creative, but people tell me I'm creative. I just do what I do. And if that's creative, that's fantastic. Resilience, I think my family they came to Australia in the 1920s from Italy, my grandparents, and my mum was born here. And they had to put up with so much horrible, horrible stuff, not only racism, but they had a boarding house that took in boarders who were what were called scabs, but they were non-union labour who worked during a massive wharf strike in Victoria, and their house was bombed. And
Wow.
I think if you can get over your house being bombed and nearly dying in this, thank God nobody died. And it was a very bitter argument, and, you know, I'm not taking sides on who was right and who was wrong to be working there. But if you can get over that, I can get over not being able to, you know, go for a drive because I want to. I have
Yeah,
two
definitely.
legs. I can go into my backyard and
Yeah,
look at the sky. You
yeah,
know, I'm not in a detention centre. So I think even though people in the deepest, darkest places often say, oh, there's someone worse off than me, I actually do think that is a really good approach. And I have a great life. You know, nothing's perfect, but my goodness, I don't live in an authoritarian regime. I don't, you know, I'm not persecuted because of my race or gender or anything else. I'm really privileged. So resilience for me is just sucking it up. I know that's not a very creative answer, but it's kind of where I come from.
it's kind of true at this time as well, isn't it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I'm privileged. I'm very aware that I'm really privileged, and there's lots of people who are doing it really tough right now.
yeah,
And my heart goes out for them. And I think it's actually made me feel that we can all do more. I think we as a society can do more. And so, if anything, it's um, made me aware that other people are not as resilient and maybe they need some more support. And I don't know how I'm going to do that, but that's what I'm sort of thinking is coming out of this.
yeah. You'll find a creative way to do that, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
So, have you explored the themes of resilience in your work, in your writing?
Have I explored the themes of resilience? In my writing, I think just about every story. I should explain. I have written fiction and non-fiction, but if I just think about my fiction work
Yeah,
now, actually, I'll take a step back. The non-fiction book I've written about my aunt and grandparents coming to Australia from Italy in the 20s is absolutely about resilience. What they had to put up with was amazing. But yes, so that was more a depiction of resilience. But in my fiction, I've found that most of the short stories I've written, and they're all funny, but they're all about someone just beating their head against a brick wall of bureaucracy or of prejudice in some way, shape, or form. And so they're all subtly about resilience. And usually my heroes or heroines are just slogging along and having another go. And because I write humorous stuff, I hope that people can laugh at that and think, yeah, it's not so bad, or I can relate to that, or oh my God, isn't that terrifying? And that is exactly what I have to go through, and so on. So I think I kind of subtly and unconsciously do that anyway.
yeah, yeah. Um, how has your creative work required resilience?
Um, it takes a lot of resilience to get up every morning, and I'm not one of those authors who sits around in their pajamas. I can't stand that. Many people do, and that's absolutely fine. But I have to get up, and I've made myself because I've been doing this for close to 28, 29 years, something like that. It's a long time.
Yeah,
Um, and I left a big job corporate world where, you know, you had to get in there every day and you had to do the work and it was all laid out for you, and you could affect things, but you had to do the job. Whereas there's nothing that says you have to write that chapter today,
yeah.
and you have to
Mm,
write that chapter when you can't leave the house
mm,
and you really want a new pair of shoes, but you have to put up with the old ones. You know, I mean, they're
yeah,
very small themes about
yes,
resilience,
yeah,
but I think pretty much my approach to writing is it's up to me.
yeah,
No one is going to say, here's a contract. Hey, why don't you write this for me? And by the way, take as long as you like. It's up
mm,
to me. So I feel that resilience and sort of self-motivation and self-reliance are all intertwined. And I mean, there's days when I can't write, and it's sort of probably a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we're recording this towards the end of lockdown 4 in
yeah.
Victoria.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. And probably a couple of weeks ago, when we were sort of 1 week into the extension of that lockdown,
Mm,
I felt really, oh, what is the point? That
yeah, it was
lasted
a
a
hard
day or
week.
so. And, you know, that's okay. You're allowed to have those periods of not being able to cope, and wasn't even not coping, but just not having any motivation. And then you just go, well, you know, I want to write this story. I love my character. It might make people laugh. Get down and write some more. So that's
Terrific.
kind of how I do it.
Well, thanks so much for chatting with me today about creative resilience. It's been really wonderful to hear your insights, and thanks for being part of Book Lovers Festival.
Oh, it's been my great pleasure. Thank you so much.